Take Mom's jewelry. My brother insisted after the funeral. She'd want you to have it. We were standing in our mother's bedroom, the smell of her perfume still clinging to everything. White lilies from the service sat on her dresser, already starting to wilt. The jewelry box, mahogany with mother-of-pearl inlay, sat open between us like a mouth full of secrets. I don't know, Marcus, I said. Maybe we should divide it up fairly. No. His voice was sharp. Too sharp for a grieving son. You're the daughter. Jewelry goes to daughters. That's how it works. My husband Ethan stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets, watching silently. He'd been quiet all day, even through the service. Even when Marcus had given that strange eulogy that felt more like a legal statement than a tribute to our mother. I reached for the box, thinking maybe I'd just look through it first. Mom had beautiful pieces, vintage brooches, her wedding rings, the pearl necklace Dad gave her for their 25th anniversary before he died. Ethan caught my wrist. Don't touch any of it. Marcus and I both turned to stare at him. His face was pale, beads of sweat on his forehead despite the cool October air. What? I asked. Just trust me. Don't touch it. He pulled out his phone, typing frantically. Check the news from 1987. 1987? Marcus stepped forward. What does that have to do with anything? Ethan, you're scaring me, I said. He turned his phone toward me. Remember how your mom always said she was a nurse before she had kids? At Riverside General? Yes, so. Riverside General closed in 1987. After the scandal, my blood went cold. Marcus tried to grab the phone, but Ethan pulled it back, continuing to read. 6 patients died mysteriously over 3 months. All wealthy. All had recently updated their wills. The deaths were eventually linked to poisoned items, a watch, a ring, a brooch, given as gifts by their nurse. That's ridiculous, Marcus said, but his voice wavered. You're saying Mom dash. I'm saying check the date. Ethan showed us the screen again. The nurse disappeared before they could arrest her. Margaret Whitman. She was 28 years old. I did the math. Mom would have been 28 in 1987. Lots of people are 28, Marcus said desperately. And Mom's maiden name was Winston, not Whitman. Ethan swiped to another article. A grainy black and white photo filled the screen. The woman in the nurse's uniform could have been anyone. But the eyes. Oh my God, I whispered. Those were Mom's eyes. Same unusual gray color, same distinctive shape. Even in the poor quality photo, I knew those eyes. They'd watched me take my first steps, cry over my first heartbreak, walk down the aisle at my wedding. This is insane, Marcus said, but he was backing away from the jewelry box now. Mom. She made cookies for bake sales. She volunteered at the library. After 1987, Ethan said quietly. Everything you know about her life starts after 1987. Doesn't it? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Mom's stories about her childhood were always vague. No photos before she met Dad in 1988. No family, she said they'd all died in a car accident. No friends from nursing school. No connections to anything before she became Mrs. Eleanor Trent. The jewelry, I said suddenly. At the hospital. She always wore gloves when she handled patient belongings. Lots of nurses wear gloves, Marcus said. But she wore them at home too. Remember? When she was cleaning her jewelry. Said she had sensitive skin. Ethan pulled up more articles. The victims had all died from contact poison, something absorbed through the skin. The nurse had been giving them gifts, pieces from estate sales, she claimed. Tokens of appreciation from a caring caregiver. Each piece was coated with a deadly substance, Ethan read. Undetectable without specific testing. Victims experienced symptoms within hours of prolonged contact. I stared at the open jewelry box. Mom's collection was extensive. Too extensive for a woman who'd lived modestly her whole life. Vintage pieces. Antique pieces. The kind of things wealthy old women might own. She gave me earrings for my birthday, I said faintly. Said they were family heirlooms. Did you wear them? Ethan asked urgently. No. I lost them. Right after. Mom was so upset. Marcus was pacing now. This is circumstantial. All of it. You can't just accuse our dead mother of being a serial killer based on some old photos and dash. Based on what? Ethan interrupted. Tell me one thing you know about your mother from before 1988. One friend. One relative. One piece of proof she existed before she met your father. Silence. The nursing license, I said suddenly. She had it framed in the den. We practically ran down the stairs. The frame was there, same as always. Eleanor Trent, RN. Licensed 1989. After the supposed murders. After Margaret Whitman disappeared. She got her license after she met Dad, I said. Said she'd taken a break from nursing but wanted to go back to it. Or she needed new credentials, Ethan said. Under her new name. Marcus slumped into Dad's old chair. Why are you doing this? She's dead. What does it matter now? Because she wanted Elena to take the jewelry, Ethan said. Specifically Elena. Insisted on it, according to you. She always said I reminded her of herself at my age, I whispered. The room felt too small suddenly. All those years of Mom pushing me to be independent. To make my own money. To not rely on anyone. Strong women take what they deserve, she used to say. The world won't hand it to you. We need to call the police, Ethan said. And tell them what? Marcus laughed bitterly. Our dead mother might be a serial killer from the 80s because she looks like someone in an old newspaper photo? Tell them about the jewelry, Ethan said. If it's poisoned, dash. If, Marcus emphasized. If it's poisoned, which is insane, then we're talking about evidence in multiple murders. You want to explain why we have it? She's our mother. We inherited it. We didn't know dash. Didn't we? Marcus's voice was strange now. All those times she wore gloves. All those jokes about her special cleaning solution for the jewelry. The way she'd get angry if we touched her collection without permission. I remembered being 8 years old, trying on Mom's ruby ring. The stinging slap. The furious lecture about respecting other people's belongings. The way she'd scrubbed my hands raw afterward, saying I'd gotten them dirty. Oh God, I said. She knew. She knew, and she still wanted me to take them. Maybe she was protecting us, Marcus said weakly. Keeping them locked away so no one would get hurt. Then why insist I take them now? I asked. Why not have them destroyed? Why not dash? I stopped. In my mind, I heard her voice from just last month, weak from the cancer but still sharp. The jewelry goes to Elena. Promise me, Marcus. It all goes to your sister. She wanted me to have them, I said slowly. Because she wanted me to be like her. Ethan was already pulling me toward the door. We're leaving. Now. We can't just leave, Marcus protested. The estate dash. The estate can wait. Ethan's voice was firm. We're going to a hotel. We're calling the police. And we're not touching anything in this house without hazmat gear. As we gathered our things, I noticed something I'd overlooked before. On Mom's nightstand, next to her reading glasses, was a pair of thin leather gloves. The kind she always wore when handling her collection. But there was something else. A note, in her careful handwriting. For my daughter, may you be stronger than I was. I picked it up with tissue, not daring to touch it directly. On the back was a list. Names and dates. 6 names. 6 dates in 1987. And then more. So many more. Dates spanning decades, cities across the country. 1989, Robert Chin, San Diego. 1993, Dorothy Palmer, Phoenix. 1997, James Morrison, Seattle. 2001, Patricia Vance, Denver. 2005, Howard Klein, Miami. The list went on. Each entry in Mom's precise writing. A careful record hidden in plain sight. Ethan, I called, my voice barely a whisper. He came back, took one look at the list, and pulled out his phone to photograph it. Don't touch it. Don't touch anything. Marcus appeared in the doorway. What is that? I showed him. Watched the last of his denial crumble as he recognized Mom's handwriting. How many? He asked. I counted. 23 names. After the original 6. 29 people, Ethan said. Over 40 years. We left everything exactly as it was. The jewelry box open like a trap. The note on the nightstand. The house that had hidden a killer in plain sight. In the hotel, Ethan called the FBI. Not the local police. This was beyond them. While he talked, I sat on the bed, thinking about every gift Mom had ever given me. Every piece of jewelry I'd lost or broken over the years. Every time she'd been disappointed that I wasn't more ambitious like her. Marcus sat beside me. Do you think Dad knew? He died of a heart attack, I said. At 52. Healthy as a horse, everyone said. We looked at each other, the same terrible thought passing between us. She loved him, Marcus said. She cried for months. She cried for months, I agreed. And then she updated her insurance policies. The FBI arrived within hours. They sealed the house. They took our statements. They confirmed what we already suspected. Several items in the jewelry box tested positive for various contact poisons. The note contained enough evidence to close dozens of cold cases across 5 states. Margaret Whitman had become Eleanor Winston, then Eleanor Trent. She'd married my father, had 2 children, and continued her killing spree with more sophistication. Estate sale purchases. Gifts to elderly neighbors who died of natural causes. Always careful. Always patient. Except with me. With me, she'd wanted something different. She was grooming you, the lead investigator told me. Based on what you've told us, she saw herself in you. Wanted to pass on her legacy. But I'm nothing like her, I protested. No, he agreed. You're not. And that probably frustrated her. Hence the final test, the jewelry. If you'd taken it, worn it, survived, she would have known you were truly her daughter. If not, I'd have been victim number 30. The story made national news. The suburban serial killer. The angel of death's daughter. Every headline more sensational than the last. Marcus and I changed our names, moved across the country. We don't speak to each other much. Too many shared memories. Too many questions about what we should have seen. Ethan saved my life that day. If he hadn't remembered the news story, hadn't made the connection, I'd have taken that jewelry home. Would have worn Mom's pearl necklace to feel close to her. Would have died within hours, another victim of a killer who birthed me, but never truly loved me. Sometimes I dream about her. Not the mother who made school lunches and attended PTA meetings, but the stranger with gray eyes who keeping score of deaths like a twisted game. In the dreams, she's still trying to give me the jewelry, and I can never run fast enough. The house sold eventually, to people who didn't care about its history. Mom's jewelry went to evidence, where it will stay forever, beautiful, deadly reminders of a woman who fooled everyone, including herself, into thinking she was just another suburban mother. But mothers don't give their daughters poison as inheritance. Mothers don't keep lists of the dead in their nightstands. And mothers definitely don't spend 40 years playing a role, waiting for the chance to create another killer in their image. I kept one thing from that day, the tissue I'd used to pick up her note. Not as a memento, but as a reminder. A reminder that sometimes the people who are supposed to protect us are the ones we need protection from. That love and murder can wear the same face. That inheritance isn't always about money or jewelry or family heirlooms. Sometimes, inheritance is about choosing not to become the monster who made you. My name is different now. I live in a different state. I work, I love, I try to forget. But sometimes, when I see mothers and daughters shopping for jewelry together, I think about that moment, my hand reaching for the box, Ethan's fingers on my wrist, the truth just seconds away from killing me. I think about how many times my mother must have watched her victims reach for her gifts, knowing what would happen next. I think about the disappointment in her eyes every time I failed to be the daughter she wanted, the killer she was crafting. And I thank God for my husband's memory, for old newspapers, for the truth that saved me from an inheritance of death wrapped in pearls and poison. The FBI is still investigating, still finding connections to other deaths. The number grows every year as cold cases warm up under new scrutiny. Margaret Whitman. Eleanor Trent. My mother. A ghost with too many names and too many graves in her wake. But her real legacy isn't the deaths she caused or the fear she spread. It's the 2 children who survived her, who chose to be better, who broke the chain she tried to forge. Marcus became a counselor, helping families deal with trauma. I volunteer at a domestic violence shelter, teaching women to recognize danger hiding behind familiar faces. We took our inheritance of horror and transformed it into something else. A warning, a guide, a chance for others to escape their own monsters. Because that's what you do when you discover your mother was a serial killer who wanted you to follow in her footsteps. You run. You survive. And you make damn sure